In this video, I'm going to tell you how I took our newborn from waking up every 45 minutes in the night to sleeping for 11 to 12 hours straight only 3.5 weeks after the day he was born. And to be honest, I had a little fear about sharing this information because some people I've shared this with reacted defensively or dismissed what I said as temporary luck that will run out with this child or the next. But parents and future parents need to know they don't have to surrender to sleep deprivation just because they have a baby. So I'm gonna put that fear aside for long enough to film, edit, and post this video. If you're wondering who I am, my name is Otis. I'm a lawyer and former NFL player on a mission to help moms and dads parent like an athlete. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more great content from me in the future. If you've let anyone know that you're having a baby, I bet nearly all of them said something about how you should prepare for 6 to 12 months of sleep deprivation. And some of those people might have recommended you prepare to go without sleep for even longer. When I heard these oh so helpful comments, I let people know with 100% confidence that I will sleep well much sooner than they think. And they always responded with something along the lines of, "You'll see." Here's an interesting fact about me. One of my pet peeves is the word can't. An even bigger pet peeve is when someone tells me what they think I can't do. No one has the power to set limitations on me except for me. And the same is true for you. If you believe you can do something difficult, the most significant obstacles besides the laws of physics are the negative views you adopt and tell yourself. So I was determined to find a way to get our newborn to sleep through the night early and often. Sleep was important for our well-being, but I was primarily focused on making sure our son got as much rest as possible during these critical developmental years. A few months before our son was born, a good friend of mine who played tennis at the University of Kentucky, where I went to school, go Cats, mentioned that her daughter sleeps through the night and she and her husband follow the recommendations in a particular book to make it happen. It sounded great, but it sounded like a lot of work. So I stored the information deep in my mind, intent on finding a plan that didn't sound so restrictive. Fast forward to our son's birth, and I still didn't have a plan to help our son sleep through the night. This child woke up every 45 minutes. I'd never been so tired in my life, and I once stayed up 56 hours straight to finish an interior design project in college. Yes, I was an interior design major. How that happened is a long story that I'll save for a future video because it will help scholarship athletes decide on the right school. Now back to me being dangerously tired and without a plan of action. Let's talk about the first of 3 steps that helped me get our baby to sleep 11 to 12 hours a night by the time he was 3.5 weeks old. After about a week and a half of sleep deprivation misery, I messaged my friend to get the name of the book she recommended months ago. She said the title of the book series is Moms on Call, and she would put the first of 3 books in the mail that day. I thanked her, but an hour later I realized I couldn't wait to get my hands on this book. So I bought the online course that also came with a set of 3 books designed to help moms and dads crush the first 4 years of parenting a child. When I ordered the course in late June of 2022, the website said there were over 600,000 happy customers. A year later, that number was up to over 1 million. Clearly, Moms on Call works. Now, I'm not going to give a full rundown of what's in the book, but it basically gives you a suggested schedule with options to modify for sleeping, eating, bathing, and bedtime. And there's great information on how long you should wait to go into the room when the baby's crying. Also, the book is not a plan that amounts to just letting them cry it out. It's a really nice balance of nurture and structure that helps babies know that you're there without always being there every time they cry. So here's what we did. We put blackout curtains in the room to get it as dark as possible. We set the thermostat to 71 degrees, but it was colder in the baby's room with a Miku monitor showing 69 degrees. My wife prefers to ignore sleep science and keep the temperature at 73 to 74 degrees, so this was actually a huge, small victory for me. Moms on Call recommends the Lectrofan Classic sound machine for white noise and strongly recommends against playing any music during the night. I ignored both of those recommendations and went with 2 Sonos speakers, one for white noise and the other for music. I went with the Sonos for white noise because it got much louder than the 2 different units we tried. Moms on Call recommends that the white noise is loud enough to hear from outside of the room. Now, I wasn't sure what that meant, so I decided to make sure the sound level in the crib was no more than 74 decibels, which is about the average sound level babies experience inside the womb. Note that I use a decibel measuring app to measure the sound levels. And if you think 74 decibels is too loud, there's a study in the journal Child and Family Behavior Therapy that found that white noise machines set at 75 decibels at bedtime and used all night improved sleep and reduced night wakings in 1-year-olds with no ill effects. The Sonos speaker I use for music was set to play the same song on repeat all through the night. More on that later. Now, I defied Moms on Call's recommendation to avoid playing music through the night for 2 reasons. One, I wanted our son to adapt to sleeping in less than ideal situations. For example, we may have friends over and want to play music downstairs. I didn't want the music to disturb our son because a lot of music cuts through white noise. The second reason is a big one that I'll go over in detail in the last part of this video. Don't miss that part. Note, if you have a bunch of older Sonos speakers and are thinking of running white noise through Sonos, consider getting newer models or just sticking to the plan in Moms on Call. Connectivity with the older speakers is great, but sometimes they can lose connection to the network and the sudden silence can wake your baby. We now use 2 of the Lectrofan Classics, a Sonos speaker with white noise to layer in some bass, and the other Sonos speaker for the music that I'll discuss in the last part of this video. Now let's talk about the second step I use to help our baby sleep 11 to 12 hours a night. Bath time, the last feeding, and tender time are some of the most important parts of the sleep equation. Moms on Call has a plan that allocates about an hour and a half for bath, feeding, and tender time, but we spend about 2.5 hours. And when I say we, my wife actually spent most of that time in there. So that meant we were in the process of putting our son down for the night from 6 to 8:30 every night. We got a lot of judgmental comments from people over this, but there were many factors that made this necessary for us. First, our son is really big and he eats a ton. Feeding time was 45 minutes to an hour, where Moms on Call recommended 20 minutes. Shout out to my wife for producing all that milk and spending so much time and energy feeding our hungry guy. Second, we added an unconventional and kind of gross step that I've never heard of before. I'm sure a lot of you heard of Windi the Gaspasser from Frida Baby. If you haven't heard of it, it's basically a tube designed to relieve gassy babies. It's a great product, but there aren't instructions on when to know if you got all the gas. So early on, I decided to extend our use of the Windi because our son hadn't pooped for a long time, and something told me he really needed to poop and the Windi might help. So I left it there for maybe 10 minutes, and the next thing you know, it was a poo-splosion. Like the diaper I was using to catch it was close to overflowing. Sorry, I warned you, this was kind of gross. And after that poo-splosion, our son slept much better that night. By much better, I mean he slept from around 8:30 p.m. to about 4 a.m. Not bad for almost 3 weeks into life after only sleeping for 45 minutes at a time. But my goal was to have him sleep through the night by 4 weeks, even though Moms on Call only promised to help get us there by 12 weeks. So I needed some more help. Now is the time for the final step that helped us to get our son to sleep 11 to 12 hours a night by 3.5 weeks post-birth. I call it our peace practice. Now this is the part of the video where a lot of people might lose interest, but it is the most important part. So let's start with an important question. Have you ever noticed a negative change in your baby's or kid's behavior whenever you're in active conflict with your spouse or partner, even when you're out of your child's sight and earshot? If you haven't noticed, I would challenge you to start paying attention to how your child's behavior takes a negative turn in the moments where you're in active conflict with your spouse or partner, or when you're dealing with significant internal conflict related to your spouse or partner. Think about those stressful car rides full of crying and screaming, and think about how often that chaos was preceded by internal chaos related to your spouse. Or those nights when the baby wakes up shrieking at a time that doesn't align with her normal pattern, and you're desperately trying to figure out what the hell is going on because she will not stop crying. Whether you believe what I'm going to say next or not, I'd like you to give the thought some consideration. That unexplained craziness, uncontrolled anger, screaming, crying, etc., all that you see at random moments from your child is the result of a spiritual attack. Please stay with me. It's not a problem with you as a parent. You didn't do anything wrong, but there is a spiritual enemy that uses chaos in your relationship to create chaos in your child that furthers chaos in your relationship with the sole purpose of destroying your family. Now, if you don't read the Bible or have read it and don't believe what's in it, you might be wondering, how do I know this to be true? Well, I know because my wife and I have experienced those same horrible late night moments even after we figured out how to get our son to sleep through the night. Now, as a lawyer, I'm trained to spot issues, patterns, and details. And it didn't take long for me to realize a few things. One, when we were in our son's room singing praise and worship songs with the volume up louder than usual while holding him, it would put him to sleep very quickly. Frequently, I would feel a wave of energy come over me and our son would go from screaming uncontrollably to completely knocked out. Two, when I harbored negative feelings toward my wife because of something she said or did that I didn't like, it set the stage for chaos with our son. Whether we were in the room before bedtime arguing about something dumb I should have let go, or in the car when I was aggravated about being late or the fact that we were driving somewhere I didn't want to go, our once peaceful child would launch into uncontrollable crying that couldn't be soothed without milk or other things designed to distract babies from their negative emotions. Playing praise and worship music at a higher volume while singing along would put an end to the madness in minutes. 3. While our son sleeps 11 to 12 hours every night, there are some rare moments where he will wake up screaming. By around 6 months, I realized that we could just listen to and sing along with praise and worship songs and pray in our room, and he would go back to sleep in 10 to 15 minutes. At this point, we don't even bother with looking at the monitor. If he wakes up screaming, we just start thanking God out loud with song and prayer. This even works with nap time. Our son used to sleep great for 2 naps a day, which we achieved with plenty of help from moms on call. But around 9 months, he started loudly letting us know how unhappy he was with being left in his crib twice a day. And at 12 months, not only is he unhappy with being left in his room, he's strong enough to shake the crib until it travels from the wall to the center of the room. So I've been experimenting with a strategy of winding down his pre-nap time with at least 15 minutes of barefoot time on the grass and in the sun, a bottle, and playtime from the crib, and once I leave the room, 15 minutes of prayer and song time in another room. And it's working. He's back to sleeping most of the nap time, and when he's awake, he's just having fun entertaining himself. He's at peace. So if a peace practice sounds like something you want to try, I'm sure you'll want to develop a routine of your own, but here's some quick tips to get you started. 1. Make a playlist of inspirational live praise and worship songs to play during the bedtime routine. But stay away from sad songs about pain and despair, and add the songs that are triumphant and feel like spiritual fight music. The songs that stir emotion in your heart are going to work the best. 2. Play your music loud enough to hear it over the white noise so you can sing along. If you don't know the words, Spotify and Apple Music includes karaoke-style lyrics that will help you learn. Consider playing your best song on repeat all night. Ours is Jireh by Elevation Worship and Maverick City Music. 3. Get in the habit of acknowledging to God out loud that you trust Him to do what feels impossible in moments of peace and chaos. Ask for His power and presence, give Him control, and continuously thank Him for the positive outcomes before they happen. Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? If you got some value from this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It will go a long way to helping others see this video while giving me a better idea of the types of content you want to see. And drop a comment if you try this approach and it works for you. And if you have some improvements to add, please let me know. I'm all for leveling up for baby number 2. Thanks so much for spending some of your time with me. I appreciate it more than you'll know. Take care.